Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Caccera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Caccera.
Welcome in, Joe Caccera with Real Estate Radio Live. We are live on Facebook. For those that are following us on the live feed, thank you very much for doing that. We try to schedule the show during the week, Monday through Friday, during the same time, right about 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So for those that follow the show, give you the ability to follow the show live on Facebook. However, this is a podcast, so we'd love to have you download the podcast if you haven't already done so. You could do that by going to iTunes, just type in Real Estate Radio Live, or you could go to Google+, Stitcher, or even go to our website, for that matter, and just RERL-1574-Giving. That's RERL-1574-Giving. You could find the podcast there and any more information you want. So for 8 years now running, we have been focused on education and information, and also I'm excited about today's show because a big part of what we do is giving back to the community in many different ways. Most of you know, if you've been following the show for years, several times during the year, we do giving back segments, and what that's for is to get organizations, groups, anybody that wants to come on the show to really get information out to support, to help the cause, what they're doing, how we could help as a community. Even though this is a real estate radio show, I've said this before, we all live in a community and we all want to try to help and support in any ways we can, and there's some wonderful causes out there, and this is certainly one today, so I'm excited about it, and we're going to chat about this right now. So let me invite my guest, Mr. Matthew Decker. Matthew, good to have you here.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. So Matthew is with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, or FCA, for those. And again, it's a wonderful, wonderful organization we're going to hear more about in the Bay Area. He's kicking off this organization, and we're going to try to support and do what we can to get as much information out as we can. So why don't we do this, Matthew, if we can. If you could give the listeners a bit about your background first, and then how you got involved with FCA, and then we'll jump into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm Matthew Decker. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I played baseball at Stanford. I just graduated in 2018. And FCA was a huge part of my college experience. Mm-hmm. They were my best friends, my greatest mentors, and that group really did a great job of helping me navigate a lot of the difficulties of college, whether they were failures with academics, injuries, some social issues that I really had to deal with on my own for the first time, being away from home. And then this aspect of God continued to grow in my life since my sophomore year, and has completely transformed the way I live and what I'm passionate about. Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah. Welcome again. And, as you say that, it's amazing to me how most of us, we think about, for some reason, 18, 19-year-olds are prepared to leave home and go do school or something else. Right. And I'm realizing, because my own daughters went through it and other people, friends close to me, it's not that easy. No, it really isn't.
It's not. And I came from a great family, and they're listening today, so I can't give them any flack. But I came from a great family in an awesome school in Portland. But when you're confronted with, oh my gosh, how do I manage my finances?
Right.
How do I deal with this failure? I can't necessarily just go back to my home, and that's not necessarily a safe place.
Right.
You're out on your own. For me, it was the first time. And, a lot of these other issues in regards to dealing with success and dealing with your dreams, dealing with the outside world, it's tough for an 18-year-old.
Right. Yeah, no, I would agree 100%. So let's talk a little bit about the background. I guess probably, tell us a little bit about FCA to begin with. I know, when it started, kind of where it started, where it's grown to, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you're doing here in the Bay Area.
100%. Yeah. So FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, has been around for 60 years, and it's the largest sports ministry. It's an international sports ministry, and they've got area reps all over the country and all over the world. The mission is to empower coaches and athletes to pursue a life of Christ through sports. And so, my work here in the Bay Area as an area rep, I cover San Mateo to Redwood City. My job is to equip and empower our local coaches, whether that be high school coaches, travel coaches, or just dads that find themselves, coaching little kids, to kind of walk them through what it looks like for them to encourage their kids to pursue a life of Christ through sports. And then also the second half of that is is working directly with the students. And so almost every single day I'm on a high school, public or private, doesn't necessarily matter. And being an example, being a lifeline for a lot of these kids who might not have access to any sort of Christian mentor. And then I'm on high schools, and I also work back at Stanford, which is a huge joy. Being that's where I graduated from.
Right. So one of the things I'll step in and talk a little bit about too, as I discussed this with Matthew, is that growing up, I was passionate about baseball. Played in baseball. Took it quite a ways. Didn't quite make it to the major leagues, but was drafted by the Cleveland Indians in the early '80s and played a little time. And what I remember and what I know is that in my particular situation, I shared that with you, I didn't really have a father as part of my life, and my mom, had to raise 5 kids on her own, so pretty tough. And so that's where, I was fortunate to get really to play for some outstanding coaches that cared about me and saw some of the challenges I had. And so what I love about what you're doing is this is an extension. There's so many kids that you could reach through the sports that you wouldn't be able to normally, right? Talk a little bit about, well, first I want to know why you got involved with this.
Sure.
And then tell us a little bit about why it's so different to be able to access and get these athletes and these coaches in the realm of a sports arena, so to speak.
Totally. So initially it wasn't what I was planning on doing.
Right.
I graduated with my undergrad and my master's in public policy and thought I was meant for the political realm. I think I might still be down the road, but right out of the chute I took a job down in San Jose as a policy analyst. And honestly, we as Christians talk about this conviction, this draw towards something greater. And I really felt that the Holy Spirit was telling me, hey man, I think you'd be great in this policy role, but at this point in your life, I think I want to optimize you elsewhere. I think your deepest joy as a 23-year-old is going to be outside, is going to be preaching the gospel, is going to be working with kids and doing sports. And so, 2 weeks into that job, I up and quit, and to the dismay of my parents and to the discomfort of my parents, I said, hey, I'm going to go raise some funds. But, I really think, God did show up. Yeah. And it was cool to see him confirm that. And then to your second question about the opportunity of using sport as an avenue of ministry, I think I want to talk about one experience where it was between my 4th-year senior year and my 5th-year senior year. We were down in Los Angeles, and we were playing wiffle ball, which is, for those non-baseball people, it's a little plastic ball with holes in it and a little bat. A very simplified form of the game. And it was in this FCA camp, our big high school camp, and I just felt myself be fully engaged, fully present, fully loving, fully leading these kids. We're playing intense baseball, so it was very competitive, but it was an incredible environment to preach the gospel. It was an incredible environment to open up my life and say, hey, this is what I stand for. This is what I'm passionate about. I love baseball. I love Jesus. And it was an amazing atmosphere because, we talk about platforms. We talk about things that are really easy for people to get on, even if they're not Christian.
Right.
And, for instance, we had an FCA summer baseball team, and, probably 70% of them were Christians. They come from a Christian family, go to a Christian school. But then we had the other 30% who, they just loved baseball. Right. And this might have been their only opportunity to be around Christians that are leaders and their mentors. It's a tremendous opportunity to have some impact.
Yeah. So you described a little bit why, the ministry is important and why you got involved. What have you seen so far in the Bay Area? I know you're just getting started, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the plans, the objectives, and what you plan to do here. But what have you seen so far since you just get started in here? What has touched you, and what have you seen, and what kind of opportunities excite you?
Totally. I think the biggest fear that I had coming right out of this other job is, okay, I've got to raise funds. Right. And I'm entering this very secular part of the country. Right. And, okay, I need money, but I don't know if there are going to be any people that can want to support this. Right. And so, in the matter of 2 months, we achieved fully funded, which was amazing. It was a huge blessing. And the only really way that happened were a couple of key leaders that sprouted up. And these are people that I wouldn't have met if I wouldn't have, taken that leap of faith and stepping away from that job. There were 2 guys, both affiliated with Stanford in some way, and they reached out to me saying, hey, we want to support you. We want to get this thing off the ground. And so when I look at that, I just say, wow, the Lord has brought up these leaders that have supported me and shown me that there are other people in this area that are excited about this and passionate about this and see that their kids and their community is going to be affected by it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Today we're talking to Matthew Decker. He's with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We're talking about an organization that's launched here in the Bay Area. It's over 60 years old, so it's worldwide. Is it worldwide?
Yes,
worldwide. Yes. Is it? So I'm not speaking out of turn. And Matthew's doing a great job trying to launch the Bay Area and really grow the awareness. So for anyone that's listening to us now on the live feed, or later on if you're downloading, listening to the podcast, and you want more information or interested in helping, supporting, there's a couple different ways you could do that, of course. So if they're listening to this, Matthew, how would they contact you, if they have more questions for you?
Absolutely. So email's probably easiest for the both of us. So my email is the first letter of my first name and then my last name, mdecker@fca.org.
Great.
That's my direct email, so feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Very good. So what is the objective and strategy? Tell us a little bit about, you launched it here in the Bay Area. You're excited. You've already seen some wonderful things take place. Totally. Getting this started. So what does this look like a couple months from now, a couple of years from now? Tell us a little bit about it.
Absolutely. It's such a great question. It's something that I rack my brain about all the time. Mm-hmm. And what I keep landing on is building a system of ministry that will outlast me, outlast my kids, and will be here for generations. Because the counter of that is just me being the only one that's doing the mission work, right? And so, say something happens to me or I leave in 10 years, if everything falls, then it would probably be an ineffective ministry. And so the goal is to build a sustainable system of missions, and it looks like summer teams, summer camps, internships, leadership development internships. It looks like building strong leaders, campus leaders, student leaders on each of these high schools. But this is my job. I need money to do this. And so the biggest thing that we're trying to build is an endowment. Okay. An endowment so that there isn't just money transfer year after year after year from person to minister. It can build on itself. And so an endowment, summer camps, a very robust summer internship where it's not just them wasting time, but it's how can we create leaders not just for the missions field, but for the world. Those leaders are conceptually great and know how to run people and groups, but how can they pursue Christ and emulate Christ in whatever leadership field that they find themselves in? So that's the robust system that we're trying to create.
Well, a lot very, very similar to a business. It sounds like to me. Some of the most solid, successful businesses really build a platform and really a style of duplication, as you said, because it takes more than one person. And so if you lay the foundation, so to speak, and really set the stage and get as many people surrounded around you with the same mission and vision, and give it a chance to, like you said, just be here forever and continue to grow and have much strength.
Absolutely.
Along the same way.
I think one of the things that God has really made clear to me is, Matthew, I want you to, for the next, 10 years, I want you to work with a team to build a team and create this in the Bay Area. And I want you to document everything. I want you to write everything down so that not only can the Bay Area continue to flourish, but you can send it to other parts of the country. So not just FCA can flourish, but other ministries. And
helping others.
Yeah, exactly.
Continue it. Just keeps going.
Absolutely.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, as we have to do for our podcast. For those that are following us live on Facebook, stick with us. We're going to just take a 1-minute break, and we'll be back with you in just a minute. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back to continue the show in a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
How would you like the opportunity to secure a record low interest rate while buying and or selling your home? In addition, how would you like to save 20% or more on your entire real estate transaction? Finally, how would you like to bundle all your real estate services in one location? Well, now you can achieve this with BundleSelect.com. That's right, save on real estate lending and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. BundleSelect's hand-picked team of experts will save you thousands of dollars by bundling real estate lending and title services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. I'm here to tell you BundleSelect.com is the best way to save money on real estate. By bundling services, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Visit BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004666902.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Today we're in studio talking with Matthew Decker with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA. Most of you know that for years I've been doing this show, and several times a year, and sometimes mostly it happens, occasionally during the holidays, because we have organizations, Salvation Army and on, so many different organizations that are trying to raise money, awareness for a cause, and there's thousands of them. We all know there's thousands. So if I could do my part with me personally and my show to help as many organizations as I can in and around the Bay Area, that's what I want to do. So with that, I'll throw it out, and I always do. If there's anyone listening to the show here on Facebook, or later on you download the show and you're listening to the podcast, and let's say you have a great cause, your heart's set on, you're passionate about, and you're trying to look for ways to get that cause out and maybe expose it more and get more awareness, give me a call. Check in. Let me know. I'm happy to help any way I can. This is a real estate-related show, but you hear me say all the time, it takes a community, and we all live in the same community. So this is a good thing. When you have a voice, you have an avenue. Matthew, this is just another way that we could help and I could help. So good to have you here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So again, Matthew Decker with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. First segment, he talked a little bit about the background, what brought him here, how he's doing, the Bay Area, the goals, the kind of objectives. What in this process, as you went through, because one of the things you'll continue to go through is, what do you learn about money in this? There's got to be something that has taught you something so far, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Totally, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So this is my first time really fundraising out on a large scale, and one of the first things that I realized when I got some of my initial checks, it was these are friends, these are family members that are handing me over their hard-earned money, because they support or believe in this ministry, and then when it keeps getting to a larger scale, and I hit my first phase, I was struck with, gosh, this almost isn't mine. I've been given this as a seed investment to then go and invest somewhere else.
Right.
And so it didn't feel like I was getting a paycheck from a big institution and then I could just kind of put it in my back pocket and no one else would see it. It like how I use these funds, it directly impacts those that have given it to me.
Right.
It feels very public. And I was talking with some of my other people in ministry, and they were saying, like, look, it's not your money. It's not even the people that have given it to you. It doesn't even belong to them. Ultimately, it belongs to God. It's this form of currency, this form of value that we've been given, that we as humans have cultivated and accumulated over the years, and now it's our turn to give it away. Yeah. So that's kind of the first thing about money, is that it's not, okay, so I get it, and it's not mine. It is totally the Lord's, and now it's my turn to use it towards ministry. And then the second one, and this is what really like kind of blew my head open, was that every single dollar, and I might be wrong with this, you might push against it, but every single dollar at some point was fundraised. Every dollar that you might make, every dollar that flows around in our government and whatnot, every single dollar was at some point an initial investment, was at some point fundraised. And then it just grows and grows and grows from that. So it kind of gives me confidence that, hey, I'm just at the beginning process of any sort of big corporation or big movement. So that kind of gives me some energy, and I'm just at stage one. Yeah,
good for you. As you're talking about this, I was reminded this morning, and I don't know, maybe because we were getting ready to do the show, or just in general, I've been more aware the last several years, I think, and it could be age or a number of different things, but let's just call it more awareness. It's a good thing. So I'm sitting at a stoplight, and this gentleman's crossing the crosswalk, and I'm pretty sure, but pretty sure is homeless. It was just another example to me. All of a sudden I thought, here I am sitting in my car, I have the heater on, it's cold, I'm on my way to work, I'm fortunate enough to be doing all these things, I'm healthy, and it really makes you think.
Right.
It really makes you think, and just like the organization that you're so kind to put your time and energy in and resources, the gentleman that's walking across the street, I could go on and on about thousands of examples of people that need help.
Totally.
In so many different ways. And so many of us have been gifted and blessed to, have some things. Now, that doesn't mean we didn't work hard, doesn't mean good things didn't happen, all those things. We know that. But the point, as our conversation today about the ministry and his point, is that all of us should dig deep, think about it, and what can we all do as a small piece of society and any organization that helps others that are less fortunate and helps others to bring awareness, especially children. Young children, kids, teenagers are very impressionable. So for all those reasons, I don't want to get too sideways here, but it's all about being aware what we could do as a community and a society to help others.
Absolutely.
And not just think about ourselves.
Totally. And that's the main pillars of this, right? When I see growth, in a business, you might talk a lot about money, or you might talk about
other
sales
or revenue.
Right? You might talk about those things. Definitely, there's a money side to ministry.
Sure.
There totally is. But honestly, the biggest thing that we're searching for, the biggest way that we want to expand right now are our people, our volunteers, our staffers. So we're always hiring. If you have any interest in this work, we're always hiring. But the biggest thing, I would rather you go get involved, and I would rather you go coach.
Right.
I would rather you go help lead your child's small group in their church. I would rather you and your spouse embody what a godly marriage looks like. I would rather that happen than you just donate to Bay Area FCA. Because you leading your children, you leading their team, you leading their communities, you can do so much more than me, the 23-year-old, trying to do it big picture. You can create impact right now, and it's not just with your finances. Right.
So a couple different ways. Again, people could support. They could either volunteer, help, raise money, give money. So again, if anyone's interested, and I'll say too, when you're listening to the podcast or listening to the show right now, this may not affect you. This may not be for you, but I would say take a few minutes to ponder and think about maybe it's someone maybe it's a neighbor, a friend, a coworker, a family member, could be anyone that might light the bulb, and you might say, gosh, you know what? I think this person might be able to help. I think this person might be good at this. I think this person. So I would ask you, as you listen to the show, to think about that too. And then if there are those out there, Matthew, again, how would they reach you? What's
Absolutely.
the best way to reach you?
So like we said earlier, the best way is my personal email. It's mdecker@fca.org. The first letter of my first name and my last name @fca.org. And Joe, I just want to make a quick note. I mentioned earlier that I work on high school and college campuses. FCA is larger than that. I do a lot of youth programs. We have youth nights where we bring some of our college athletes to talk to 8 to 12-year-olds and their parents. And then we venture into the professional spectrum.
Right.
So we hit all ages, and we go international too. I've been to the Dominican Republic a couple times, and we'll be going back in January. So we're not just high school and college. We hit all ages, and we hit all sports.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to make sure I'm clear too. So again, someone listening to the podcast, watching this show live on Facebook, if they are a coach or they know a coach or their child's playing a sport or something, and they want to know more about how that you could get involved, or they could also contact you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Please do that. We have a bunch of coaches' references that we can totally give you and walk you through. They're outstanding, and we would love to talk to you. Yeah.
Very good. So let's talk about the sports part of this. What have you seen so far? I mean, obviously it had an impact on your life. What are you seeing so far? And I'm guessing, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is this, as you work with these young men and women, is this the thing that motivates and drives you when you see them to develop and you see them in an environment like this? Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Coaching is invigorating.
Yeah.
I myself have been a coach now for a year, call it a year. And I tell my family, I tell my girlfriend all this all the time. It's like, I don't just want to coach baseball. I want to be a character coach. And baseball, the skills and mechanics, I'm good at. I played at Stanford. I'm good at that. I've got that down. But that's not the biggest reason why I coach. I love coaching because the role is you're trying to get 9 guys or whatever sport, but in baseball, 9 guys and then the rest of the bench together in one unified direction towards a victory, towards a goal. And when I'm in a coaching environment, I feel like I'm my most pure self. I feel like I am fully engaged, fully vulnerable, fully open. And that's the goal of ministry, right? The goal of ministry isn't just to create teams and create small groups, but it's for me to live a lifestyle that's worth repeating. And I feel like when I'm coaching, I'm open, I'm clear, Jesus is on my heart in all times. And it's invigorating to see them latch on and to see the kind of twinkle in their eye go on and say, oh, that's what it means to be a Christian. That's what it means to be a Christian athlete. Oh, you're not this wimpy nice guy. You're someone who's really, really competitive, really committed to your craft, and you want to win. Yeah. And the biggest thing is that we talk about in Christian athletics a lot is that where is our identity? Is our identity in our performance? Is our identity in what team we're on? And coming from such a high level of athletics, I've found that the biggest issue, the biggest pain point for athletes is having your identity rooted in your success and your performance. And when you don't achieve that, you feel like you're a bad person or you're less valuable. And so the biggest thing that we push towards is, what does it look like to have an identity in Christ? And what does it look like for a team to be pursuing that? And when that happens, it's a really special thing. Very
good. Just a minute or so left. Again, geographically, just want to make sure. So Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, how does that shape out in the Bay Area?
Absolutely. So I am the area director for San Mateo to Mountain View.
Right.
However, there are many other FCA staffers. We don't have anyone in San Francisco, so if anyone wants to do this in San Francisco. But I'm the northernmost, and it goes down around the Bay and up into Oakland. So we've got people all around there. So if you're not impacted by something in San Mateo or at Mountain View, there are people all over the map. So you can just search up FCABayArea.com and find out who's closest to you.
Okay, so they could go to FCA Bay Area. There's the website. Right. And then one more time, Matthew Decker with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. If they want to reach you, your email is?
Absolutely. It's mdecker@fca.org.
Very good. Thanks for being here. Great show. We'll have you back in a couple weeks.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Welcome. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for those that are following us live on Facebook. We appreciate that very much. And thank you for those that continue to support the show, download the podcast, and spread the word. We appreciate that very much. Until next time, take care. Have a great afternoon.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.